Welcome back to a Cinema 4D tutorial. In the previous tutorial I was talking about how to avoid light leak, and then we also showed you a little bit about how to create walls with thickness and good window frames, and we're just going to kind of build on that. So what we did in the last tutorial was we took just a standard cube and we turned it into this very quickly. And the beauty of this is that now this has thickness inside of our walls. And we did that by breaking apart and separating out our ceiling from our walls, from our floor, and that allowed us to create the hierarchy that we're going to need in order to export this as an FBX and work properly inside of things like Twinmotion or Unreal. So now I'm just going to show you how to add some other objects to this 3D model to quickly give you some techniques on how if you're building your own house model. So now that I know these are my walls, I'm going to click my wall and let's just drop in a cube, and I'm going to create something like a balcony here. So let's just drag this kind of roughly to where we want the balcony to be, and I might just jump into my let's see, I need to go into my right view here, sorry, my left view, and let's kind of line this up. I'm just going to make a really big, modern looking balcony. So hit T on my keyboard, stretch this out. I'm going to leave a little bit of room here just because I want to have a little bit of a frame there for like a sliding door, just to step down and maybe drag this up a little bit, make it super large. So we come back, I've got these two things intersecting, which is what I want, and I'm just going to select both of these and grab myself a bool and bring that in, and then let's just swap the walls with the bool, and there we go. We've already had our wall thickness, so that made it quite easy. If we make this editable, the great thing about that is, let's bring this out. We've still got our cube, so what we can do is we can bring this out and go into our polygon mode, Control A, and I'm just going to extrude this inward. Just kind of make a little bit of a frame there that I can give a different color for my sliding glass door. So now I can bring this back in, and what I like to do is just give it a little bit more depth here. And I'll bring this back in, and I'll have it just kind of adds a little more to your model to be able to have a little bit of shadow casting there in the corner. Same thing on the inside. So now it looks like a proper frame has been created there, similar to the way a house would actually be built. You can also, as we showed before, let's get rid of let's call this our balcony frame. And let's focus back in on our walls. And what we can do is, oops, I can get out of here for you. You'll notice that now this wall is split, so there is no more connected thickness to that wall, but that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the wall and we're going to go into the line mode here, and we're just going to click bridge, and this is not necessary, but let's say you wanted to add glass, you just want to make a big modern window. We're going to bridge that over, and then we're going to turn back on our frame. So now, when we go into our other program, or if you're rendering in Cinema 4D, that glass that we just created here, or this plane, is going to act as our balcony glass. So let's go ahead and split this, and let's call it balcony glass. And we just want to make sure when we go into our wall that we get rid of that. And you'll see why this hierarchy has to be this way when we get back into Twinmotion. But what you just did there was pretty simple. You just created a nice big, essentially window frame, but that can serve as coming out here into your balcony. So let's take this a step further. What we're going to do is we're just going to get another cube, and we're going to bring this out. Make sure I've got the whole model selected so I can just kind of start shaping this balcony the way I want. And kind of just, we can overlap a little bit here as long as the mesh isn't right on the edge. We won't see any problems. Let's see, I'm gonna make it a little bit flatter. And yeah, something like that will work. Okay, so we've got the basic balcony there. And I'm going to have an interior view, so I'm not going to worry too much about how this looks from the outside. So I want to really focus on what it's going to look like from inside that room looking out. So if I jump into my top view here, there's my balcony. I'm just going to get some cylinders, and I'm going to scale these bad boys down a little bit. And I don't need all these sections. I actually only need one height section, and I probably only need, like, let's just keep it at 8 rotational segments. And I'm going to drag this up so it's flush, size that up a little bit, and we'll go something like right there. So it's coming to our top view. I could clone this, but I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of drag these into place where I want them. I'll grab them and just kind of duplicate them over at increments that kind of make sense, something like that. And then we'll go back and we'll just grab some of these and just kind of drag them across. Obviously, there's always a better way to do this. If you really were going for symmetrical, then you would want to clone this and do linear lines across. But I'm happy with just doing something like that. So we might have to adjust some of these slightly. Just kind of select these and make them so that they're equidistant from one another. Let's come back into our top view here, our perspective view. So now we've got the layout for our balcony. We're just going to add another cube, and I'm going to bring this over, and I'm going to be making railing with this. So I'm just going to go with kind of a flat top railing, kind of like a wooden railing top. Let's go back into our top view, and let's put this into, we'll have this go flush with the building. And we'll go to somewhere like that, and we'll duplicate it over. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about that front piece. I don't wanna have any mesh errors. So let's grab these and bring these down so that they're sitting on top of our rail there. And now what I'm gonna do is make these editable. And then I'm just gonna cut a line across just outside of the end post there. I'm holding down shift with my knife tool. I'm just cutting right across. And actually what I need to do is make sure visible only is checked off. And let's just cut right across, something like that. Hit escape on the keyboard and jump back in. And now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to bridge these end polygons across by just doing something like, actually I need to go into my line tool there, just connecting these just like that. So at the bottom one, the top one, and the outside ones. Okay, so I've now connected all of these pieces, so now it's all fitting together. And now what I can do is just take these guys, and I'm going to connect objects and delete, and I'm just going to call this balcony railing. And let's take all these cylinders and let's just go ahead and just hit Alt G to put them all in there. And let's select our children. They're all going to be the same color, so we don't need to do anything with that. Let's just connect objects and delete and call this the balcony post. Excuse me, balcony posts. All right. So all I've got here is left to name is my balcony floor, or I guess we just call it deck. And now I've got my hierarchy here. This is like looking pretty good. I could export this. I obviously didn't finish that window up, but I could do that last, which I'll do before I export. But I've got my little interior scene here. So what we'll do is we'll show you in the next tutorial what this looks like inside of Twinmotion when we start to actually create our architectural visualization. So thanks for watching this quick tutorial. Stay tuned for the next one.